It all started at Lowe's movie theater on November 20th, 1992. My mom and dad were watching a movie called Malcolm X until my mom's water broke and they rushed her to the hospital. I was born at 3:15 a.m. on November 21st. My mom and dad named me Kareem Brown. I was born to Paula Y. and Floyd Brown. I was the youngest child. I have one older brother named Terrell Y. and a sister named LaShonda Y. As a child, I always had all the attention. I went to a school called Forest Hill School until I was in the 4th grade. I moved to the Fairview section of Camden and attended a school called Yorkshire. It was hard moving because I always had to make new friends and get used to a new school. I finally found some friends who have been with me since elementary school. Their names are Donzel, he's the dresser out of the group. And then there's Manny, he's the funny guy who always likes to make people laugh. And then there's Lester, he's always the serious one. And then there's Anthony, the one who loves to fight. These guys became my circle. We did everything together, like go to school, play football every Sunday until we got older and went to Camden High School. That's when I met a girl and it turned out that she got pregnant. She was due to have my son on November 14th, and when I found that out, that changed everything. So me and my friends started to steal cars and take them to chop shops. Now that I look back on it, and I used to hear my mom say, everything you do in the dark comes to the light one day. And that day came. I got caught stealing a car, and it turns out that the car I stole had an AK-47 in it. They took me to Lakeland, and they kept sending me back and forth to court. I was in there for 2 months. They finally sentenced me to 4 to 6 months in a program. They sent me to a program called Warren Residential. It was in North Jersey. It wasn't bad. I got to meet new people and see how they live in Newark and Trenton. Not one person wasn't a Blood or a Crip, and that was something I had to get used to. They sent me there on July 17th, and me knowing that I had a son on the way, I had to be good and don't get into no trouble, so I can get home on the earliest, which is 4 months. I finally was released on November 3rd, 2008, and once I got out, I set my mind that I was done and I was going to stay out of all trouble, but it's hard not to go back to your old ways. My friends were always pressuring me to do it all over again, but I didn't. It turns out my son was born November 11th. I was in the hospital when he was born. He weighed 6 pounds, 9 ounces. He was born at 12:32 p.m., and that was one sight that I will never forget for the rest of my life. I was so scared to hold him for the first time because he was so small. And I looked into his eyes and I knew that I had to change my life for the good in order to make him strong. And now I want to go to a college called Ohio State University to play football or study in law if football doesn't work. I want my son to have a better life than I did, so he doesn't have to worry about shootings or being killed. He and football is the only things that keep me out of trouble, and of course, Hopeworks. Because kids need a place like Hopeworks, because when a kid has too much time on their hands, that's when they get into trouble.